Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar on the comparative market analysis tool with Centris. My name is Roxanne and I'll be with you for the next hour. We'll be working together in the tool and I will show you all the little intricacies on how to create your own comparative market analysis, the CMA, in Matrix. So let me just double check something here. I don't want to flush out anybody. I'm going to be going into my Matrix tools. So in order to create a CMA, a comparative market analysis, you have to go, there are different routes to get into it. So there's the Matrix right here, where you can go and create a CMA from here. And you would just start a new CMA. The other way is if you're actually in Matrix, which is not necessarily going to be the normal way you'll be going because it's not a house for sale, but it's maybe a house that was sold. So you would search for that house when it was sold and create a CMA from there. So basically I would search for a single home. And let's say I'm going to go in Laval, in Chomedey, and search. But I would probably search for a sold home. So I would go into the sold aspect of it and choose the house. Now, I'd rather start right now from my matrix with you. Reason being that I will use it the long way so you know the worst scenario that you can have. So basically when I'm talking about the long way is because it's a house that's never been listed. And I will create a new CMA. So I have no history on the house, so I can't use the old listing where anywho I would have to change the evaluation. I would have to change the status from sold to make it empty, look up the evaluation, look up the renovations. So just to let you know, I will start from scratch right here, creating a new CMA. Now, you do need to have a contact with an email in order to create a CMA. So if I would create a new contact, if your contact has no emails, you can create yourself. So if I look here and I'm going to say test CMA, and I will need an email address. I will use my personal address because if I use my business address, which is already in Matrix, it will not let me do my CMA. So I know I already have a contact with that name. So let me call this CMA test and save. There we go. Okay. You get to choose your language, whether you want your CMA to be in English or in French, and a description. So normally in your description, you would write Mr. Smith and wherever he lives, so maybe it's 123 Apple Street in Beaconsfield. Just an example. So I have created a new contact, and that is step number one. So like I said, you can do it from here, or you can do it from an expired listing that you will use to get the basic information on the house. So we are starting from scratch and we're going to go next step, which will be our pages. So the first step is if I'm doing a single family home, I get to choose automatically if I click on it or if I were to delete this and go single family home. I can use the asking price versus selling price, details and adjustments, and the pricing. Now, this is the order in which your CMA will be printed or sent. So you want to make it more user-friendly. So I'm going to move up using the arrows right here, details and adjustments up here, and finally my pricing up here. So once I've decided what I want to do, I can set as default. So whenever I'm going to start opening a new CMA eventually, they will always have the same layout. So I'm going to set as default. So these individual prices here, you have them for single families, condos, farms, commercial buildings, revenue property. So you have all of these in every single status, and then the general are the one pages that you will be adding. So the presentation page, the CMA being explained to your clients, the map layout showing the house you've sold or you are going to sell compared to the other ones that sold in the area, why you want to do business with a real estate broker. And all these pages are pre-programmed with a text, so you don't modify them, they're as is. What your compensation is, what protects the seller, cooperation amongst brokers, and how to make a good impression, which I find very useful. Now you can also have, I don't know if you've noticed on top, my custom pages. Maybe you want to customize a presentation page, which you would have created already. And I would go into Manage Custom Pages here. Choose the file that you've created in PDF. And then you're going to add it in and give it a title. So it's going to be available here if you want to add your own personal presentation with your history or whatever you want to put in there. You can create your own personal page. You can put statistics pages that you created. So this is where you can create your own custom pages. So if I go back here now, my pages, I have selected all of them so you can all see what those pages look like. Then comes our subject. When I said I want to do the long road in, here's the reason why. You have to type in manually your fields or enter a listing number from which it will fill in all the blank spaces you need to fill in. Or you can actually search if you haven't taken the time beforehand to see if it was sold before, off market, or whatever. You can always search for the listing to fill in your form. Like I said, we're going to do it all manually, so you get to see from scratch a house that was never on the market with Centris, and we're going to go fill it in manually. So I'm going to imagine my house here. So I have to fill in all these fields. So I'm going to say 123 Apple Street, Beaconsfield, postal code region Montreal, neighborhood, whatever, I'll put West Island. Obviously, there will not be a Centris number, and we will not have a status because we're creating this new listing. Property type, it's going to be a single family, one floor. Building type, single family home, or I don't know if they call it isolated in English. The living area, if you want to calculate it, it's really a for home, not too many people use it. The lot area, we would put the square footage, so I would put in, let's say, 5,000, well, Beaconsfield will probably be bigger, 8,000 square feet. Year built, I'll go 1970. Total assessment, I would go to the C and verify the assessment, but for the purpose of this exercise, I will put $650,000. Asking price, we don't know yet because we need to discuss with the seller. Zoning will be residential. Number of rooms, that's the total number of rooms in the house. So it could be a laundry room, could be a bathroom, could be kitchen, pantry, whatever. So the number of rooms here, you will put the number of rooms, as total. But then it's going to ask you of those rooms, how many are bedrooms and how many are bathrooms. As far as the sewage system is concerned, it's from the municipality. The water supply will be the same. Energy will put electricity. Heating type, maybe a forced air. Basement, 6 feet and more. Totally finished. If we have a fireplace, we can fill it in. A pool, the siding, so we can say brick and aluminum. Parking spaces, we would say alley, and there's 4 parking spaces. If there's a garage, access to water. This is my homemade fields. I can change that to roof, age of roof. Okay. And here I will, these are all custom fields you can modify, add to your pleasure. So I'm going to say bathroom renovation. Okay, and I will add another one, kitchen renovation. Okay, you can also add, if I go here, links from matrix fields. So different fields in matrix, if they have a bathroom and suite with the master bedroom, you can choose that field in there. So it's just to let you know you can add in the fields you want. You have up to 5 fields. And here again, you can save the custom fields as default, and it will always appear at the bottom here. So I filled in the fields. Now this is a brand new house on the market, so you don't have a picture, but if you want to look professional, you would drive by the house before you do this. Take an outside picture and load it up. So I'm going to browse on my computer, and I'll go on my desktop here, and I will just use, here we go. We're obviously not going to be in the same area, but just to show you that you can upload a picture you took with your phone until it actually goes and gets taken by a photographer. So I have the basic information, and then you can put remarks. So Mr. Smith, 123 Apple Street in Beaconsfield. Now, as far as the map location is concerned, one of the pages we've chosen was the map. So in order for the system to pinpoint your house on the map, you have to give it its latitude and longitude. So I'm going to go locate, jump to Montreal. I'll just write to see if there's a 123 Apple. Okay. Nope. So I'm just going to say delete and go to Beaconsfield. And I'll just choose here, choose this house. And done. So automatically it's going to give me where the house is located when we get to the page that shows where it's located. So we filled in page number 2. And we're now going to go to the presentation page. So basically here, you're going to put your contact information, change that to Mr. Smith. Again, at 123 Apple in Beaconsfield. You can put in the customer's phone number if you wish. The broker information you can edit, or you can just override the information for the CMA and make it different. So you can do that on your CMA to make it look different, or just change the picture or save as a default. you get to choose how you want to be presented on the first page. That was the easy part. Now we have to go look for comparables. I know I'm doing this CMA with you within an hour, which is very condensed. But if you're doing an actual CMA, you will have to go look for comparables before you start, so you know where you're heading. And if you do that, you can add to your customer's cart. So we created the customer test CMA, and we would go looking for similar properties and add them to the cart. If not, we'll have to go look now, different listings in Montreal. So I'm gonna go click here for Montreal. Beaconsfield sold, because we can only compare with sold homes. And that will fill in since 2023, 0401 plus. And this will be a single family home, bungalow, detached. And then we're gonna go 5 years older, 5 years younger. So I'm gonna go 1965 to 1975. So that way I don't have too much to adjust as far as the adjustments are concerned for the year built. So I have exactly 4 matches. I'm going to use these matches to create my comparables. This one is a rental, so I can't use this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the other 3, and I will add them. Now, under normal circumstances, you would have taken the time to look at every single one of those homes, look at the pictures, look at the declaration by the seller, so that you can find out if the roofing is new, if they've done renovations, how many bedrooms, everything you can look at that will help you evaluate the difference in value. So I'm choosing these 3, and I'm ready to move on to the map. It is a lot of work to prepare, because now I'm doing it really quick, but it's a lot of work to prepare all the differences in the evaluation from the sold price. So you can see now that I did locate my house here, and my 3 comparables are within a few kilometers, not even of that house. So we're talking a kilometer here. So yeah, so maybe a kilometer away is the worst case scenario. Now let us go to the actual adjustments. This is where we're going to spend a little more time, really important. So here we go. See how I put isolated? I should have put detached. So I can always go back to my subject and change it to detached. And I notice it's not called 1 floor, but it's called bungalow. So you can always do that whenever you need to. And I will go back to my comparables. Oops, my adjustments. And I'm now called the same thing as all of the others. I don't expect you to remember the exact words. So that's, do what you can and then do like I did. Go back to your subject, change it so they're all the same. See, notice living area, we have nothing, only 1 house put in the living area. Lot area, if you want to make adjustments, this is where you would add in, adjust the lots to be the same as yours. This is where you would enter the adjustments. So in this case, we're close enough, only this one is slightly bigger, so maybe I would bring it down closer. Year built, we're very similar, not much of an adjustment that could be done there. Total assessment, we're in the price range, 600, we put 650, so we're in the right area as far as the total assessment is concerned. We do not adjust at this point because that's not what we're adjusting. We're adjusting the rooms, the renovations, just to bring it back to our subject. Speaking of rooms, These are the number of rooms that the broker entered when they put on the listing. If you're a new broker, you will notice that some brokers will put entrance hall as a room, others will not. So you will have homes that will have 12, 13 rooms. Others will have less because they did not put the entrance hall. So it's all a question of what you want to do in your listing. But what is important is the number of bedrooms and number of bathrooms. So in this case here, our subject had 3 bedrooms, the others 2 had 4, and another one had 3. So what I want to do here is put a value to a bedroom. In my mind, a bedroom that's above ground is worth more than a bedroom that's in the basement. So for this scenario, I will put that the bedroom was in the basement, and I will put a value of $5,000. The system will automatically remove the extra bedroom here to make it the value the same as my subject. So I'm trying to bring what's sold the same as what I want to list. Same thing with baths. Now between you and I, bathrooms can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $35,000, just like a kitchen can be way out of this world. So you really have to look at the pictures to evaluate the difference in the bathrooms. So I'm suspecting that at $1 million home here maybe had an ensuite bathroom for the main bedroom, master bedroom, and maybe that was a little more luxurious than the other 2, like everybody else has 2, so maybe it was worth $20,000. Maybe. I didn't look at the pictures. That's something you have to do. You have to evaluate the pictures. You have to evaluate the seller's declaration in order to really adjust to your subject. The sewage system. Everybody is supplied by the city, same for the water supply, so no adjustments there. Energy. So dual energy means everybody's got forced air, but this one is dual, which means there's an oil heating system or a gas heating system plus the electricity. So it's different from the others. Now, do we consider that a plus or a minus? That's up to you. If it's gas, underground gas, it's a plus. If it's heating oil, may be considered a minus because of environmental issues. So let's say we're going to say this is underground gas. It's worth a little more than the electricity. It's more efficient. So let's say we're going to say bring this down by 10,000 to bring it back to the other forced air furnaces. I'm just inventing numbers here. Don't take my numbers for cash. So everybody's got forced air. Everybody's got a basement that's more than 6 feet. And we are 3 people with fireplaces. But this house here doesn't have a fireplace. So I'm going to give them a fireplace. I'm going to put in $8,000 to install a propane or gas fireplace. Pool, this one has an integrated in-ground heated pool. I have to remove the pool because I don't have a pool. So how much is a pool worth? If I'm going to install a brand new pool, it's going to cost me over $40,000. But I'm just going to put a value here of $20,000 to remove. Like I said, do not use my values. I'm just putting numbers in. If you want to get proper values to establish the amounts, there's no grid, but there is a book called the CCR Quebec, available in English. You can go look it up on the website, CCR Quebec, that will give you values of flooring. You can add countertops, cabinets, even the finishing of the house, whether it's stone, brick, it's going to give you the price value, the difference in price value, so you can really dig deep if you want to do an accurate evaluation. But I'm just throwing in numbers this afternoon. So the siding here, somebody's aluminum and brick. I'm brick and aluminum, same thing. These two, the brokers did not put in the information. So maybe you can tell from the pictures and adjust accordingly. Now these three people have a garage. That's attached, built in, attached, built in. I don't have a garage. I didn't put in a garage. So I would have to remove the value of the garage because I don't have one. So I'm going to say, take off the garage on this one, take off the garage on this one, and take off the garage on this one. So everybody, I removed their garage because the sold houses all had garages, mine doesn't. Access to water, age of roof. So maybe my house here was, that's for the amount, but let's say I redid my roof in 2022. This one was 2002 or 2000, 2010, and let's say 2020. I'm going to go back to my subject and I'm going to put in my roof 2022. Got that? I'm going to go back to my adjustments and now it's going to say 2022. Obviously, I will not make an adjustment for the house that has 2020. We're very similar. But let's say the roof costs $20,000 to be redone. This one needs to be redone totally, so I'm going to do as if it was already redone and add the $20,000. And here's half a life, so I'm going to add $10,000. I'm always trying to bring everything to my subject. Any renovations, same idea as the roof. You can fill in the bathroom when it was redone, kitchen when it was redone, and you look at the pictures and you try to evaluate the value of the renovations. We're talking a house 1970, so we know there's been some renovations, or we hope there's been some renovations. So notice here my price of my three homes all got adjusted. So this one went down 20,000, this one went down just 2,000 between the plus and the minuses, and this one went down $55,000. So now I have a new median price of 800 and a new average price of 860. This is when we reach the pricing aspect of the CMA. So those same numbers appear here again. You can add some additional analysis you may have done in writing, but I will go right here in the suggested list price where it's asking me to enter the price range that should appear on the CMA. Example, I think we should list your home at, you may have to leave this space blank or write a price by hand when you meet the client. So I'm just going to copy this. Oops. After reviewing recently sold homes in your area, I estimate the selling price between, I'll put $785 and $860,000. Based on your renovations, I feel confident that a listing price of $875 would be ideal. So I created text. I had only 300 characters here, but I can add more notes here. I have an extra 1,000 characters. So I took into consideration the renovations, cleanliness, and spaciousness of your rooms. You can put in what you want. This is you who is composing what you want to put in as information. Obviously, we all have personal opinions. We put in what we wish to put in. Next button is finish. Now we're going to go view our CMA right here, and we will have a chance of seeing all the pages I have added in for my CMA. So as I said, I put in the picture. It's a 12-page report, and the information I had is available here for Mr. Smith. And here is where it starts being interesting. Everything is written down for you. You don't have to pull off your hair to compose something to explain to your customer what a CMA is. It's written black on white. That's been prepared specifically for you by analyzing properties similar to yours. And the purpose is to determine the best sale price for your property while ensuring a sale within a reasonable period of time. Ultimately, the established sale price will be the highest sale price hoped for while taking the current market into account. Please note that your CMA will be erased after 3 months. I don't know if you're a new broker or an experienced broker. We all live with the fact that the market changes regularly. 3 months could be a better sale period, a worse sale period. The interest rates can go up, can go down, so everything is affected. The sale price is always affected by what goes on with the market. So your CMA will automatically be erased after 3 months. If you want to keep it, you'll need to save it on your computer. Now, the comparative market analysis is based on comparables to yours that were sold recently in your sector. And this type of analysis allows us to obtain a clear picture of the value of your property in the current market. It also ensures you to establish the best sale price for your property right from the start. You will find as well in this market analysis other information applicable for the sale of your property. Nothing needs to be added. Now it's going to show them the asking price versus the sold price of the houses we're using is here. So it listed, sold slightly lower, a little lower. So even though it was listed higher, it sold just a little bit underneath. Then we have our comparative market analysis. So basically you will always have your subject on the left and the two comparables on the right. So in this case here, see, this is a double garage. I would have looked at the listing and I would have made the adjustments accordingly, just to let you know. And all the adjustments we made are here. So the initial selling price was $795, but with adjustments, it comes down to $770, where you did your adjustments. Now, the reason in the beginning we only had 3 comparables, I always like some even numbers for the following reason. You always have your subject and 2 comparables. So what happens here now is I have 1 subject and 1 comparable. So I have a blank column. So if you don't want that to happen, always have an even number of comparables, and don't be shy to make adjustments. I mean, in this case, I can modify the age, I can modify other things to have more samples that I can use to compare. Then we have my picture again, our remarks, the comparable prices before and after, the median and the average price. If you're all coming out of school, you know the difference. And the suggested list price. The text that I typed in is here, along with my additional notes. We then have the CMA map layout that we saw before. So now it's inserted here and gives them the addresses of what's sold in the area. Then we have, what are the 4 advantages of doing business with a real estate broker? It's all written for you. Fair price, peace of mind, the visibility, and the protection. So it's all explained. Then we have What's the compensation? A lot of sellers don't even know how it works. So Maria is asking me, can I explain the difference between average and median? I'll just go back a second here. Average is adding up all the prices divided by the number of houses. The median is the middle house. So you had 3 houses sold. The 788 is the equivalent of the house that was in the middle. So it's not an average. Remember we had one that was over $1 million and the other 2 were $700,000-$800,000. That's where you're always better off with a lot of examples so you can get a better average. And normally your average and median are going to be close to each other if you have enough samples to compare. So let's go back to compensation. How's it determined? When do we get paid? Does it go directly into our pockets? They don't know that. They think we're rich people. Do they have other advantages? Yes, we do have liability insurance. So sometimes they don't even know that. So taking all that into account, it explains to them how the commission works, how the compensation works. And then doing business with a real estate broker means you're protected. The Real Estate Brokerage Act, the OACIQ, our error indemnity fund in case of errors, and liability, professional liability that we have. So it explains to them why they should deal with a broker because of all the protections. And what's a collaboration between brokers? A lot of times sellers are going to say, all right, what if you sell my house? With the new laws that came in, it's not suggested. So you're going to explain that we're almost about 13,000 brokers in Quebec. We all work together to find the perfect buyer for your house. That's what collaboration is all about. That's why in most cases now it's a competing, if you want to call it that, broker that will bring the buyer to your house. And finally, the one that I find so convenient is the 6 golden rules to make your property attractive to buyers. It's a reminder. Keep it clean, mow the grass, shovel the snow, declutter, make sure all the light bulbs work. If a room needs to be painted, take the time to paint. It's only going to add value to your house. Anything broken, please repair. And make sure everything is nicely bright and lit when you have visitors that come in. So these are just key elements that sometimes you find you have a hard time telling your seller, but it's all there black on white and it's all politely described for them just to help with the sale of the house. So that I find is a very, very interesting page. So that's my whole report. So from here, I can save it. I can use the saving button to download and save on my computer so I don't lose it, or I can print it. If I close it and I decide, you know what, I want to put 4 houses on there. So I'm going to go back to comparables. And I'm going to go look for listings again. But this time I'm going to put from 1965 to 1979. No luck. So I'm going to put 1960. Yay, I've got 8 homes now. So I'm going to go see my results. And I will look at the pictures. I have more rentals. I have no choice. I'll use this one, which is really close by. And I will add. So I now have 4 homes. Now we'll go back to my adjustments. Actually, I can look at my map. So they're still all within a kilometer of the house. And my adjustments, the amounts I had already put in on the top row will automatically be put on already on the house. So there's no garage here, so there's no adjustment. And then what else do we have? We all had a fireplace, rooms, heating, dual energy. And then we had, oh, hold on, let me just double check here. Was it, oh, this is baseboard, so it's worth less than forced air. It doesn't circulate as well, more energy consuming. So I'm going to say $8,000 add to it, so it comes back to mine. And then what else was there? Number of baths, number of bedrooms. So everything got adjusted automatically by the amounts I put on top. So now my prices have changed. My average are closer now, you'll see. So let's go back to my pricing. We're talking about from 780 to 800. So now we're making it more feasible. See, just adding one house made a big difference. So I'm going to change this from 785 to 825. So I would probably put my house now at I put 8 million, 835, because I know it's going to be negotiated. We saw that before. And we will go back to my finish, view my CMA now, my new one, because I made some adjustments. You can always go back and forth like this and make changes to your CMA to make it closer to a selling price that makes more sense. And if I go down now, my market analysis, still everything got sold a little less than what was planned. And now I have 2 homes here and 2 more homes here. This one has no garage, like mine had technically no garage. And my prices are all adjusted here. All I did with my 2 adjustments basically is add $3,000. And my new text is here, adjusted comparable. We're now within a very secure price range. My map and all my text is back. So if I close this now, I could email this presentation or this CMA to the customer. And I will save, so I have it for 90 days in my books. And if I look at my CMAs right here, it's been added, Mr. Smith on Apple Street, my test CMA. It was done today at 3:13. So just remember, important, do not erase any. I mean, they're going to be erased after 90 days, so this is getting closer. June, July, August, September. End of September, this one will disappear. But just to show you, they will stay on there for the next 90 days of the last change. Now, the other way, single family home, if I wanted to do a CMA here, and I would have looked at Beaconsfield sold, maybe it was 5 years ago, and it was on Apple. Was there an Apple Street in Beaconsfield? Yeah, now I'll do. There's 34 matches, and maybe it was this one. And I just want to show you that if you click the home and you go to the bottom, you will have the option of creating a CMA from a sold house. Now, obviously, you'll have to adjust the valuation because in this case, this house got sold in 2012 or so. So the valuation, we are all aware, is probably over $1 million right now. So just to let you know, you can start a CMA from the sold house and then add your comparables. Yes, Maria, that would mean that the new owners called you to do the evaluation. So you can go, but not all houses are sold on Centris. Some are sold by owner or for whatever reason. So I have reached the question period. I know it's a lot to assimilate. It's a lot of information. But like I said, you can Oh, I did not say, sorry. If I go back to my dashboard, or if you go to training here and you look at training type a tutorial for tools in Matrix in English, search, you will find here your CMA, a complete training in 37 minutes that you can watch. So this is a complete training of what I just did, probably by somebody else. And this is where you can view it in a recording. Or if you go down and load more training, you will see a very short CMA in 4 minutes, 5 minutes long. So you can always go listen again. It's a YouTube video, and it's probably going to be a different presentator, but the information is still there, where you can learn again, review how do you do your CMA,